In the midnight glow where the stars align, we lose ourselves in the rhythm divine. Underneath the sky painted with dreams we're chasing.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode. I am Mari,
And I'm Jody.
and we are here to talk about Virgo season. This podcast is being released on the 24th, so we are already 2 days into Virgo season because the sun moved into Virgo on August 22nd. And after all of the fiery Leo energy we've been working with, Virgo brings us back down to earth a little bit, back into an earth sign. So, Leo season was really about reconnecting with ourselves, right? Our self expression. What lights me up? What brings me joy? Where am I ready to be seen? And then Virgo season comes along and says, okay, now what are you going to do with all of that? Earth signs are often about doing, physical, earthly reality. And Virgo is a very practical sign. It's about our everyday lives, our routines, our work, our physical health and well being, the things we need to get done. And all of those little habits and choices that don't seem very important in the moment, but over time actually create our lives. All of those little micro choices and daily routines are what make up our life ultimately. Virgo season is a really good time to look around and ask, what's working for me right now? What's not working? And what could I change to make my life a little easier? And I think easier is an important word here because Virgo can sometimes get a reputation for wanting everything to be perfect. But I don't think that's really the lesson. We're not trying to create the perfect life. It's quite literally impossible. And whose definition of perfect anyway, right? I don't think that perfect exists when it comes to how we live our lives because it is individual. We're trying to create a life that works for us. And this year, that's especially important because we're entering Virgo season right in the middle of eclipse season. And we're definitely going to go into that a little deeper later. But there may already be some things changing around us or in us because of this eclipse season. Some things are probably becoming clearer, some things may be ending, and maybe even some things happening that we didn't necessarily plan for. It often comes with eclipse season, the unplanned, which, as we'll talk about, is actually a really interesting lesson for Virgo.
I
Want
just
me
wanted
to?
to point out the fact that back to school happens in Virgo season, which
Mm-hmm.
is kind of interesting. I mean, we're back to those routines, we're back to those practical daily practices, getting to bed early, getting the kids back into the nightly routine, going back to school, going back to work, maybe if you're a teacher.
That's such a
It's
good
just,
point. Yeah, it
yeah,
actually is very much aligned with Virgo and the Virgo archetype, that going back to school feeling.
yeah, that get back to your daily routine. The fun summer's over.
Yeah. Oh, which breaks my heart a little bit. But
Right.
I also have to put myself in a place of embracing whatever season that we're moving into. Virgo season can be kind of hard on me mentally just because it is that feeling of the light changing, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. Like we always talk about, the angle of the light starts to change. The sun almost feels like it's like throwing a more pale light. I don't know how else to explain it, but I
Mhm.
feel that, and it's that impending. I know the darker season is coming. The days are getting shorter. The summer's
I
coming to a
see.
close, and it's really hard. There's a bit of grieving that happens for me as I.
Yeah, we start to see those little changes in the leaves. Like you see a red leaf here or
Mhm.
a yellow leaf, and you're like, oh no,
It's
fall is
happening.
coming.
I know, I know. Yep. But one thing that astrology, I think, has taught me and given me is the appreciation for all of it, even the parts
Mhm.
that I don't really like. I'm not a winter person. I can't say that I like winter. I don't like being cold. I don't like the dark. Here in Wisconsin, we get all of that in abundance. But astrology, in many ways, has helped me understand appreciation for the seasons and the gifts of each of them and how to utilize them in a way that is helpful and to just appreciate that everything moves in cycles. And
Yeah.
that's part of our reality here.
Okay, now let's talk about the Virgo archetype. So Virgo, again, is an earth sign, and it is ruled by Mercury. So if you're newer to astrology, Mercury is the planet that is connected to our mind, our thinking, our communication, our learning, the way we process things. And Mercury also rules Gemini, so it rules Virgo and Gemini. But the two signs use Mercury very differently. Gemini loves to gather information. Gemini says, tell me more.
Mm-hmm.
And Virgo says, okay, but what do I do with this information? So Virgo wants things to be useful. They want them to be practical, organized. They notice the little things. It's the energy that walks in the room and notices the picture is slightly crooked or looks at your schedule and says, why are we doing this the hard way? There has to be an easier way to do this. And that's one of the things I really love about the Virgo energy. Virgo wants to improve things. So, in its highest expression, Virgo is about organization, discernment, health and well being, those daily routines, practical problem solving, learning, and developing their skills, being of service, simplifying things, and really paying attention to details. Virgo understands that little things add up. Think about your everyday life. Cleaning off your desk doesn't seem life-changing. Drinking more water also does not seem life-changing. Setting
Mm-hmm.
boundaries or putting $20 in a savings doesn't seem life-changing. But doing those things consistently over time, you can absolutely change your life. And
Yeah.
that's Virgo. Virgo reminds us that change doesn't always have to be huge. It sometimes is just simply asking, what's one small thing I can do differently today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that you said that one of the archetypes of Virgo is actually simplifying
Mhm.
because I personally struggle sometimes with organization and daily routines and sticking to things because it can feel overwhelming to me. I have this to-do list and you have to do all these things in this regimented way and kind of get myself stressed out about Virgoan topics. But actually, if I look at it from the lens of simplifying my life, oh, then it makes me breathe a little easier then and go, no, this is simply taking these tools to help your life, to make your life better and easier and
Yeah,
simpler. Virgo is basically saying work smarter, not harder, which I really like that lens of looking at this.
yeah.
But like every sign, Virgo does have its shadow side. And this is where that desire to make things better can go a little too far. Because if you're
Mhm.
constantly looking for what could be improved, pretty soon you can start noticing everything that's wrong, including everything you think is wrong with yourself. And that's where Virgo can slip into perfectionism, overthinking, worry, criticism of self and others, trying to fix everyone, feeling responsible for everything, micromanaging, getting stuck in the details, having a hard time resting, and feeling guilty when you're not being productive. Those can all be shadow expressions of Virgo. And I think one of the biggest Virgo lessons is learning the difference between improving yourself and constantly picking yourself apart. There's a very different energy behind those two things.
Mhm.
And there's a huge difference between saying, this isn't working for me anymore. What could I change? And saying, this isn't working because I'm doing everything wrong or there's something wrong with me. Virgo can be really hard on itself because it sees the pattern of what it thinks it's supposed to be doing. And if it's not living up to that, there's this pressure, right? So this season, pay attention to how you're talking to yourself. You don't have to completely overhaul your life. You don't have to fix everything. You definitely don't have to become perfect. We're just paying attention, noticing, making those small adjustments, and hopefully making life work a little better for us, a little more ease, actually, because of those small adjustments. Maybe that means cutting something out that you have been doing that really isn't serving you, and that frees up more time for you. It doesn't have to simply be adding more things in to add to your to do list.
Okay, so to make this more personal, you'll want to grab your chart and look and see where Virgo is for you. And if you're using Placidus, it could be in a couple different houses. The way I'm going to go through the houses right now is by rising sign. So if you are a Virgo rising, obviously Virgo is in your first house, and this is focusing on you. And this puts you directly in the spotlight. So your body, your identity, how you show up, how you feel, and maybe how you want to present yourself differently. This is a great time for personal reset. You could ask yourself, what would help me feel more like myself right now? Some practical ways to work with it would be cleaning out your closet, maybe changing your hairstyle, creating a different morning routine, moving your body, set a personal goal for yourself, or stop doing something that you realize simply isn't working for you anymore. And of course, we're going to pull in the essential oil support. The essential oil that's going to help support Virgo in the first house is frankincense. Frankincense is a beautiful oil to use when you want to slow down, reconnect with yourself, and get quiet enough to hear what you actually need instead of constantly trying to improve yourself. So for the frankincense, you can try using it during meditation or while journaling or just with your morning routine. And if you're not familiar with essential oils, you can get an essential oil diffuser to put your essential oils in, which is a really easy way to use them. Or taking a drop in your hand with a carrier oil, like fractionated coconut oil is what I like to use because it's coconut oil with the fat taken out, so it stays liquid and it absorbs really nice and it doesn't go rancid. But you could definitely use solid coconut oil too if you don't have anything else. And that just helps disperse it on your skin and absorb it and give you all of the frankincense you're putting on versus losing some of it to evaporation or flash off. You could also make a roller ball of frankincense. So if you have frankincense and you get a little 10 ml roller, I would put like 10 drops in there and then fill the rest with that fractionated coconut oil and then just have that with you to apply on during that meditation or journaling. You can also put it in a spray bottle with that fractionated coconut oil because it stays liquid. Just a few different ways to use essential oils, which will apply to all of the oils that we're going to talk about through the houses here.
Okay, if you are a Leo rising or have Virgo in your second house, for you this month, we're going to be looking at money, income, spending, possessions, resources, and underneath all of that, really, second house is about your sense of worth. This is a great month to get practical with money without judging yourself about it. Look at your subscriptions, create a simple budget, clean out things you don't use, sell or donate something. Look at where your money is actually going and ask yourself, does the way I'm spending my time and money reflect what I say is important to me? Do your values, what you say you value, actually line up with your monetary spending and the possessions that you have? Some essential oil support for you would be patchouli. Patchouli is such a grounding, earthy oil, which I love for the second house. This house is about our resources and what helps us feel secure. Use patchouli when you're working with money, budgeting, or simply needing to come back into your body and remind yourself that security isn't only about having more.
Virgo in the third house. So this would be for Cancer rising. This is your mind, your communication, learning, writing. It's also siblings, your everyday conversations. And you may notice that your brain is very busy. So
Mm-hmm.
some practical ways to work with it would be to make lists, write things down instead of trying to remember them, clean up your inbox, return messages, organize paperwork, take a short class or course, maybe start writing, and pay attention to the way you're communicating. Are you actually saying what you mean? And the essential oil support for this would be peppermint. Peppermint is perfect here because I think it is such a bright, clear oil. Use it aromatically while you're working, studying, writing as a little sensory reminder to wake up, focus, and clear some of that mental clutter.
If you are a Gemini rising or have Virgo in the fourth house, home and family become your focus this month. And yes, this could literally look like suddenly deciding, I need to clean this house. But the fourth house goes deeper than that. It's more than just our home, but that's included. It's also your emotional foundation, your family, your roots, your private life. Practical ways to work with this energy for you: try cleaning out a room, finish a home project, create a better household system, maybe a chore chart, spend time with your family, cook at home, Or ask, what would make my home feel more peaceful? Then start there. That might look different for each and every one of you, but this is definitely about home, the comforts of home, your emotional foundations. Really, self care is wrapped up in this too. What do you do in your private life for yourself? An essential oil for you to support would be cedar wood. And I love cedar wood here because it has that earthy, grounded feeling that fits the fourth house so beautifully. Try diffusing cedar wood in the evening while you're winding down or while you're working on creating a calmer home environment.
Taurus rising, which would put Virgo in your fifth house. This is the house of joy, creativity, and play. So this is really a fun one. This house is creativity, it's romance, it's children, it's your inner child, hobbies, play, and simply doing things because you really enjoy them. Virgo here asks you, have you actually made room for joy in your schedule? Some practical ways to work with it would be to get back into a hobby, make something, paint something, do a craft, do some gardening, bake something, maybe plan a date, spend time with children. Do something simple because it's fun, not because it's productive. Essential oil support for this would be wild orange. Wild orange feels perfect for this house because it's bright, it's playful, it's joyful. Using it when you're creating or doing something fun as a reminder that joy doesn't need to be productive. Sometimes feeling good is enough.
For our Aries risings, Virgo season moves through Virgo's natural territory, the sixth house. This is our everyday life, your work, your health, routines, responsibilities. Basically, how is your life actually functioning day to day? That's Virgo territory. Practical ways to work with this: look at your morning routine, look at your sleep, your meal prep, organize your workspace, schedule appointments that you've been putting off. Oh boy, am I guilty of that. Um, and ask yourself, what one thing would make my days easier? Just start there. An essential oil support for you would be lemon, because lemon has such a clean, fresh feeling. Diffuse it while you're cleaning, organizing your workspace, you're doing your meal prepping, or resetting your routines. Think of it as your let's start fresh oil. It has that really uplifting, refreshing feel to it.
Yes, I love lemon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Pisces rising. Virgo season shines the light on your relationships. So your partner, your close friends, could be clients, and the people that you interact with one-on-one. So Virgo naturally wants to help, but sometimes helping turns into fixing, and that's something we want to watch for. Some practical ways to work with this is ask for what you want, have an honest conversation, stop taking responsibility for someone else's choices, look at whether your friendships feel balanced, and notice if you're focusing so much on what could be better that you're forgetting what's really good. An essential oil support would be geranium. I love geranium here because it has that beautiful, soft floral aroma that fits with that relationship house. Use it before a meaningful conversation, or you can diffuse it when you're spending intentional time with someone you love. Let it be a reminder to bring a little more softness into your relationships.
If you are an Aquarius rising, Virgo is in your eighth house. So this can go a little deeper. We're looking at shared finances, debt, taxes, intimacy, trust, emotional patterns, and things we sometimes prefer not to deal with. Virgo says, let's clean this up. So, for you, practical ways to work with this: look at your shared accounts. This could be with a spouse, family members, business, any of that. Pay down something, organize financial paperwork, have an uncomfortable but necessary conversation. This is about really facing those things that make us uncomfortable, but we know need to be done. Journal about something that keeps coming up emotionally, because this is very much a psychological house as well. So you're going to be focusing inward on the psyche and subconscious patterning. And allow someone else to help you instead of feeling like you have to handle everything yourself. Because again, the eighth house has that deep intimacy, shared resources, honestly, opening up to trust, trusting someone else. right? So along with that comes allowing someone else to help you. It doesn't have to all be on you. And sometimes there's a vulnerability in allowing someone to help you, but that's definitely something to focus on as well. And essential oil support for you would be myrrh. Myrrh has a deep, earthy aroma that I love for the eighth house. Use it during journaling, meditation, or quiet reflection when you're working through something deeper. This isn't necessarily an let's get stuff done oil, which you would think of for Virgo, but it's more of a let me slow down and sit with what's really underneath this kind of oil.
Okay, Capricorn rising. Virgo season activates your ninth house. This is education, it's travel, spirituality, teaching. It's about your beliefs and the things that help you understand life from a bigger perspective. Virgo here is asking, how are you actually using what you've learned? Some practical ways to work with it would be to take a course or a class, read a book, plan a trip, explore a spiritual practice, teach something you know, or take something you've learned and start practicing it. Essential oil support for this would be sandalwood. Sandalwood is a beautiful oil for the ninth house because of its rich aroma. Use it during meditation, prayer, study, or any spiritual practice. It's a great reminder to slow down enough to connect the information you've learned with what it actually means to you.
For our Sagittarius risings, Virgo season moves the sun into your 10th house. This is about your career, leadership, your reputation, your goals, and what you're building out in the world. You may suddenly see all kinds of things you want to improve professionally. But just remember, improvement doesn't mean you're doing it wrong right now. We can still make improvements, but it doesn't mean that we are not doing our best currently. Practical ways to work with this for you: update your systems, organize your office, finish a professional project, learn a new skill that helps you in your profession or your career, update your website or resume, look at your long-term goals, and maybe ask, am I spending my time on the things that actually move me toward where I want to go? An essential oil that would be supportive for you would be rosemary. Use it when you're planning, working, studying, or sitting down to tackle something important. It's a great let's get down to business oil for the career house. Really helps you focus.
Scorpio rising, Virgo season activates your 11th house. So this is your friendships, groups, community, and your dreams for the future. Virgo wants to look at those dreams and ask, what's the plan? Some practical ways to work with it would be to reconnect with a friend, clean up your calendar, look at where you're maybe overcommitted, maybe join a group, reach out to someone who shares the same goal as you, and choose one dream you've been talking about and take one action step towards it. Essential oil support for this would be bergamot. Bergamot has a beautiful uplifting aroma for social energy in the 11th house. Use it before a group gathering, networking, brainstorming, or connecting with your community. Let it be a reminder to stay open to people, possibilities, and new connections.
And for our Libra risings, Virgo season moves the sun into your 12th house. And this is interesting because Virgo usually wants to do. And the 12th house says maybe you actually need to stop doing so much. This is about your inner world, rest, dreams, spirituality, things happening behind the scenes, and patterns you may not even realize you're carrying. Some practical ways for you to work with this: rest, journal, meditate, pay attention to your dreams, spend some time alone, say no to something, clear something off your schedule, and notice whether you feel guilty when you're not being productive. That may be a part of the lesson for you. And this kind of harkens back to earlier when we were talking about Virgo can actually be about simplifying your life. And I think particularly with this 12th house placement, Virgo really hones in on that. Some essential oil support for you would be lavender. And lavender is perfect here. Use this as part of your bedtime routine, during your meditations, or anytime you're intentionally creating quiet. Let the aroma become a signal: I don't have to accomplish anything right now. I can just be.
Okay, so let's get into the astrology weather because we have quite a bit happening.
Mhm.
And one of the most important things to know is that we began Virgo season already in eclipse season. So we had the solar eclipse in Leo on August 12th. And now, just a few days into Virgo season, we'll have the Pisces lunar eclipse on August 27th. So we're literally beginning this season between eclipses. If you're brand new to astrology, you don't need to be afraid of eclipses. I think sometimes we hear eclipse season and immediately people think, oh no, what's going to happen?
Mhm.
That's not really how we look at it. Eclipses tend to bring change and movement. They can bring something into our awareness. Sometimes something ends, sometimes something begins, and sometimes life simply redirects us. It's almost like the universe comes along and says, we're not going that way anymore. We're going to go this way. And
Mhm.
sometimes we understand why immediately, and other times we don't.
Yeah, that's so true. Often eclipses actually, the true lesson of them or the full clarity around them doesn't always show up until even 6 months later or around the other eclipse season. Sometimes we get kind
Right.
of get the full picture of what that eclipse was trying to teach us. So it doesn't always show up right away with full clarity, but it can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Pisces lunar eclipse, this eclipse is happening with the moon in Pisces and the sun in Virgo. Virgo and Pisces, they approach life very differently. Virgo wants a plan, and Pisces
Mhm.
says, let's just trust. Virgo wants the details, and Pisces looks at the bigger picture. Virgo says, what can I fix? And Pisces says, what if it isn't yours to fix? Virgo wants to understand exactly what is happening. Pisces reminds us that sometimes we simply don't know yet. So I think one of the biggest themes around this eclipse is going to be control versus surrender. Where are you trying really hard to control something? And where are you overthinking? Where are you trying to figure out exactly how something is going to happen? Where are you trying to fix another person or a situation? Maybe this eclipse shows you that I can't control this, and maybe you're not supposed to. Sometimes surrender isn't giving up. It's just simply recognizing I've done what I can do. Now I need to let this unfold on its own. Some practical ways to work with the eclipse. Don't think you need to do something huge just because it's an eclipse. Instead, pay attention to what's coming up. Notice what's clear. Journal if your emotions feel stronger than normal. Give yourself extra downtime if you need it. Don't force an answer just because you want certainty. And ask yourself what you're ready to stop carrying. One question I really like is, what am I trying to control that I may actually need to release?
Yeah. And I really liked the way you worded that earlier about surrender isn't about giving up. It's actually just about releasing control. It's continuing to show up and to do our best, but to release whatever the outcome is. It's surrendering to what happens after that. We continue to show up and not give up, but it's just that releasing of the outcome because we don't have control over
Right.
that. All we have control
Yeah.
over is our own actions and where our heart is and what we do. We were just talking about this. Jody and I were just talking about this before we started recording about what do you actually have control over in life? Well, your own thoughts, your own actions, yourself, basically. And the rest you have to surrender to what is. Okay. So after our final eclipse, the lunar eclipse of the fall eclipse season, we have Sun conjunct Mercury on August 27th. And because Mercury is connected with our thoughts and communication, something may suddenly click for you. And remember, Mercury rules Virgo. So we have Mercury in a sign that it rules in Virgo, conjunct the sun in Virgo. That's a lot of that Virgoan energy here. So you might have a conversation and think, oh, now I get it, right? Those clicks, those sudden aha moments, epiphanies. You might receive information. You might finally understand why something has been happening, which is very nice, especially around an eclipse, to have a little clarity moment, a little glimpse into some clarity is helpful. Or you may simply become really clear about what you need to do next. This is really helping all those themes we talked about with Virgo season, helping you see clearly what steps Virgo can help you take in your own life. So keep a notebook nearby, pay attention to your conversations. write down ideas. If you've been trying to solve a problem, you may suddenly see another option. But because we're also in the eclipse energy still, I wouldn't feel pressured to immediately act on every single realization. Just get it down on paper, mull it over for a while, meditate on it. Sometimes we get the information first, and then we understand what it means later.
All right, and then on August 28th and 29th, we have the Sun Mercury square Uranus. And this is where things could get a little bit interesting.
Uranus always makes things interesting.
Right. Uranus is the planet that tends to shake things up. It brings in surprises, changes, breakthroughs, and sometimes disruptions. So right after we think, I have a plan, Uranus may come along and say, actually, we're changing your plan.
Surprise!
Surprise! Which Virgo absolutely loves, right? No.
Nope.
Not exactly. But sometimes that disruption shows us a better way. Your schedule could change, someone could cancel on you, your technology acts up, you hear unexpected news, a conversation takes a surprise turn, or maybe you suddenly change your mind. So, some practical ways to work with this is to build some flexibility into your schedule. Don't pack every minute of every day. Back up your important information, double check your appointments, and if something changes unexpectedly, before immediately deciding it's bad, ask yourself, is there another possibility here that I wasn't seeing before? Sometimes the detour actually is helpful.
Yeah, I find this interesting that this Uranus square comes up during Virgo season because it really is a challenge to the shadow side
Yeah.
of Virgo that wants that control and wants to know exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. This is an
Right.
interesting dynamic, but it's good. It's good for us. It's good for us to release. It's actually encouraging more of that trust that the eclipse season is showing us with the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. So,
Right.
all right, then August 28th through early September, we have Jupiter trining Saturn. Now, this is a really nice supportive energy happening underneath everything else here. Jupiter is about growth and possibility. Saturn is about structure, responsibility, and building something that lasts. So, together, this is basically dream big, but make a plan. And Virgo loves that. So, maybe there's something you want to grow your business, your health, a relationship, your finances, creative project, education, whatever it is, this energy is asking what would actually support that growth. So, some practical ways to work with this: take one bigger goal and break it into smaller steps. Virgo loves to break things into small steps. Make it doable for yourself. Instead of, I want to get healthier, just as a blanket statement, try, I'm going to walk 3 times this week. Instead of, I need to get my finances together, try, I'm going to sit down and look at my spending for 20 minutes today. Big goals become much less overwhelming when we give them small, practical steps.
On August 31st through September 2nd, Mars is squaring Saturn. So this one may feel a little bit frustrating. Mars wants to move and Saturn can slow things down. So you may feel like, come on, I'm trying to get somewhere here. Some things could take longer than expected. You may run into an obstacle, or maybe your body simply says, nope, you're tired. Virgo shadow might immediately say, what's wrong? What am I doing wrong? Why can't I get this done? But instead of pushing harder, try getting curious. Some practical ways to work with it. If you hit resistance, maybe pause, look at the situation again, make a plan. Maybe the plan needs adjusting. Maybe you need help. Maybe you need more information. Maybe you need rest. Not every delay means you're on the wrong path. Sometimes Saturn is simply saying, slow down and do this properly.
Yeah, I definitely think of the relationship between Mars and Saturn as a youthful form of action and then a more grown up form of action, where Saturn has learned through time, lived experience, wisdom, that often taking action in a more methodical, thought out, practical, small steps way, like the tortoise and the hare story, right? One foot in front of the
Yeah.
other, actually ends up getting you to your goal easier and honestly even faster, because often if you rush into something, you can make mistakes and then there's rework and all of that. So, yeah, that's a
Mhm.
actually, as much as it might feel frustrating, actually kind of helpful, because it slows us down enough to really think about our actions and to do them the right way from the first time.
Yeah.
All right, September 3rd through the 11th, we get a little breathing room here. The astrology quiets down quite a bit. And I actually think that's perfect for Virgo season, because this gives us time to integrate everything that happened around the eclipse. Actually, Virgo is the Hermit card in tarot, and the Hermit card is all about going inward, taking time for yourself, solitude, quiet, introspection. And to me, this little window in September really focuses on that. So this doesn't need to be dramatic.
Mhm.
This is everyday Virgo work. Practical ways to use this time, this little window, and again, that's September 3rd through the 11th. Pick something that's been bugging you and deal with it. Clean the closet, make the appointment, finish the paperwork. These are all those things that we talk about that are just classic Virgo. But really take some time to rest and focus on yourself and what your needs are. It's not just about doing. This is also about, what are my actual needs? How can I use Virgo season to help my life and make my life easier, my everyday easier?
September 12th through the 16th, the sun sextiles Mars. So this is when we start getting some forward movement again. The sun in Virgo is working nicely with Mars and Cancer. Mars gives us motivation, and Virgo helps us know where to put that energy. And because Mars is in Cancer, we may feel especially motivated by things that actually matter emotionally: home, family, health, security, people we care about. So, some practical ways to work with this is maybe start a project, clean out a room, make that phone call, meal prep for the week, work on your yard, handle something around the house, or take action on something that will make you feel more supported later.
Then September 12th through the 14th, Mercury forms a trine with Uranus. And this is great energy for figuring out a different way to do something. Because earth signs in general, we're talking about Virgo in this instance, but earth signs in general can sometimes get stuck in their thinking, stuck in an old tradition or a certain way of doing something. But then Uranus, which rules air sign and fresh perspectives and ideas and awakenings, it can come in and say, is there an easier way? It's innovative and brings something fresh to this Virgo season. You might discover a new app, a new system, a shortcut, a different schedule that actually works better for you, or simply have a great idea. So I actually think that this is a real gift to Virgo season, to bringing something in fresh instead of just reworking old systems. So experiment, try something new. Ask someone how they do it. If something in your life feels way more complicated than it needs to be, look for another option.
September 14th through the 17th, Venus squares Pluto. Now we get into some deeper territory around relationships, money, self-worth, and what we value. Pluto tends to bring what's underneath up to surface. So maybe something bothers you more than usual. Instead of immediately reacting, ask, why is this bothering me so much? Maybe it's not really about what's happening today. Maybe it's touching something deeper. So, some practical ways to work with this is to notice jealousy, resentment, control, people pleasing, or fear around money. Have an honest conversation if one is needed. Look at where you're giving too much, and especially notice where you're afraid to say what you actually need.
On September 18th, Mercury opposes Saturn. And this is kind of not a warning per se, but just something to hold in your awareness, because what this might highlight is actually kind of the shadow sides of Virgo. Because with Saturn in opposition to Mercury, our thinking can get a little heavier, and that inner critic could get louder. This could turn up the volume on that inner critic, and that is Again, that kind of shadow side of Virgo. So you might start thinking things like, I should be further along. I should have this figured out. I should be better at this. So just watch those shoulds. Saturn can help us get serious about something without beating ourselves up. So just hold that in your awareness around this time. We're this far into Virgo season, and you might be shoulding on yourself a little bit at this time. So, practical ways to work with this, though, because there's that maturity again with Saturn. Make a decision, set a boundary. Saturn is very good at that. That actually is an assist here, right? Have the conversation you've been avoiding. It's giving you that sort of strength and backbone to be able to do that. Create a realistic plan. Again, there's maturity here. So just remember, being honest about what needs work is different from being mean to yourself.
Yes. Okay, September 21st through the 22nd, Mercury sextiles Jupiter. And we end Virgo season with a much lighter, more hopeful energy. Mercury has spent the season helping us sort through all the details. Jupiter helps us zoom back out and see the big picture. Maybe now something makes more sense. Maybe you can see why something had to change. Maybe an idea starts to grow, or maybe you simply feel more optimistic about where you're headed. Some practical ways to work with this is to have a conversation, share an idea, teach something, learn something, and take a minute to look back over Virgo season and ask yourself what actually changed because I paid attention to the little things.
Mm-hmm. And give yourself a pat on the back, because no matter what, I'm sure you have accomplished some things, organized some things, and gotten some things done during that time. So give yourself props for that. Okay, so moving through this season for everybody, no matter where Virgo falls in your personal chart, we all work with this energy. We're all going to be moving through this season together. And I really don't think Virgo season needs to become another giant self improvement project. We have enough of that narrative in our world, don't we? Of just improve, improve, improve. But I think that completely misses the point. I think it's about keeping it simple. So pick one thing to make easier. Look around your life and ask, what is harder than it needs to be? Maybe your mornings are chaotic. Your email is ridiculous. Maybe you're constantly looking for your keys. Maybe dinner stresses you out every night. Maybe you're just overcommitted. Just pick one thing and then ask, how can I make this easier? Another thing would be to finish something. Think about something that's been hanging over your head. Like we talked about, we've talked about a lot of this, but make the appointment, clean the closet. It's going to feel really good, I promise, to just check something off your list. Virgo gets a sense of lightness when it can make that check mark and finish that thing. And we all have things that we put off, but there's this real sense of relief when we actually follow through. So give yourself the gift, honestly, of finishing something. Just pick one thing. Pay attention to your body, because Virgo is definitely connected with our health and our everyday well being. And this doesn't mean starting some extreme health plan. I'm not here to promote extreme diets or exercise routines. Keep it practical for yourself. Do you need more water, more sleep, a little more movement, more nourishing food, less stress? Listen to your body and what it's telling you, because that is directly tied to Virgo for sure. And watch your inner critic. We talked about this too, but this might be one of the biggest Virgo practices. Virgo is such a wonderful gift in how practical it is and how much it helps us simplify. But this shadow side, I think, is something that we all are so familiar with. The inner critic and that voice that tells us what we should or shouldn't be doing. I'm behind, I'm failing, I should be doing more, I'm not good enough at this. Just when those things come up, stop and ask, is this thought actually helping me improve anything? If it's not, then it's probably just criticism. So use your discernment around your own inner voice during this time. Leave some white space, leave some open space, especially because we're moving through eclipse season. Don't schedule every minute, leave yourself some space. Things may change. Remember, I said that Virgo rules the Hermit card in the tarot. That should tell us something more about Virgo. This isn't all about doing. This is about taking time for yourself. And that is when you may change your mind. New information can come in, but not when we're just constantly go, go, go. It's when we stop. and take some time and get quiet. That's when the new things often come to us. And Virgo can create the plan, but Pisces, remember our lunar eclipse is in the Pisces-Virgo axis, and Pisces reminds us the plan isn't the boss. Sometimes we need to trust where life is taking us to. And that's all I had, just for everyone across the board working with Virgo.
I think the biggest thing Virgo season reminds us is that our lives are really created through the little things that we do every day. It's what we repeatedly choose, how we spend our mornings, how we talk to ourselves, what we give our energy to, what we say yes to, and what we finally decide we don't need to carry anymore. And this year, with the eclipse season happening right alongside all of this Virgo energy, Virgo can help us take care of what's right in front of us. And Pisces, again, reminds us to trust the things we can't control. So maybe that's our Virgo season reminder. Take care of what you can, let go of what you can't, and don't underestimate how one small change can change everything. And that's all we have for you today.
Preach it, Jody. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please like, share, review, comment. It helps us so much, and we love you all. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks. Thanks for joining us under the stars today. We hope you're leaving feeling inspired, grounded, and more connected to your inner truth.
And if you loved this episode, we would be so grateful if you would subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone you love.
If you're ready to explore your soul's path through psychological, evolutionary astrology, and personal astrological coaching, you can find Mari at yoursoulpurposeastrology.com or follow her on Instagram and Facebook at Your Soul Purpose Astrology.
And if you're ready to illuminate your birth chart and explore how essential oils can support your emotional and energetic alignment, you can find Jody at earthandskyessentials.com or at Earth and Sky Essentials on Facebook and Instagram.
And remember, your soul is always guiding you.
The magic starts within.
away.